Hi, everyone, and welcome to the sixth episode of Toasted. I apologize for the delay in the release of this one. My excuse is that my dog actually ate the charger for my laptop, so I couldn't actually produce this video. True story, actually. But anyway, in this episode, we will continue our conversation with Tracy Marchionda, and she talks a little bit about the trajectory that our decisions take and how they kind of dictate the way that our uh, life goes, and in somewhat unpredictable ways. And I think you'll really enjoy the episode. I also wanted to encourage you, if you like Toasted, the best thing you could do to help us would be to like the video and leave a comment below. And if you like the podcast, it's really helpful on Apple to leave a review. That certainly helps us quite a bit. So we hope you enjoy this episode, and we look forward to cheersing with you soon. Thanks.
Oh my gosh, the most important question. Wait, we have to cover this most important question. I can't believe I didn't think of this until just now. Okay. All right, Tracy, you have to settle a dispute.
Tullamore
Dew or Jameson. Tullamore Dew or Jameson.
Listen.
You are such...
Being the little Irish girl that I am, I'm sorry, Margie. You know I'm Team Margie. It's Jameson.
Of course it is.
That was such a setup, Nick. You knew what my answer was going to be.
So I will tell you, shout out to another OG fellow from Cuca College, Steve Scouten. I love Steve-O. Much to you. He has been a fan also since day one of the podcast. And he actually texted me last night and he was like, "Hey, Margie, I just want to say," he goes, "I love Tullamore Dew." And he said, "However, I'm a Bushmills guy." So he brought a third Irish whiskey into it, but he did understand. And
I don't know that
about
one.
The nuances of Jameson is very good, very smooth, very whatever. But if you have more than a little, it's too sweet, where Tullamore Dew doesn't have the sweet effect. So there's some longevity with your enjoyment of said whiskey. So, there are things to consider, just like coffees and all of that, the bitterness or the roast or whatever, if you're going to do more than a couple sips, if Jameson gets too sweet, but it is delicious. I mean, I'm not ignoring that fact.
I'm sorry, everyone who disagrees with me, but you're all wrong.
Well, and here's the bottom line. I'm not really a whiskey. I'm not, Nick. I agree that Jameson is the best. I'm not really a whiskey drinker. And maybe in another podcast, we'll get to actual cocktails and I will share my cocktails on you.
I feel like there are conversations that are coffee conversations, and I feel like we had a really nice coffee conversation today. But then there are cocktail conversations. So we kind of did the same thing with my story. Like there was like an AM and a PM version, Mm-hmm. And so I feel like this is a very good AM conversation, but I think there's a PM conversation.
Definitely. My other thinking on failure is definitely going to need drinks, cocktails. So we'll save that. I do have to do so part of my failing at retirement led me to teaching for SUNY Oswego. And so I do have to do a quick shout out to my Syracuse cohort for EAD 641. I promised them if they watched Toasted or listened to Toasted that I would give them a shout out. So if any of them are listening and they mention this, they don't know this, but I will certainly buy them a Toasted sticker and mail it to them. So they have to mention this though. So I want to do a shout out. I know at least one of those students listened to episode 1. Let's see if they make it through to episode 4 and they hear
Tracy,
this.
we thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. And by the way, they're in the mail. I mailed them yesterday, your stickers and your Toasted coasters. So that is in the mail to you as we speak. So you should be getting that on Monday is what the tracking said. So you should be getting those for your students, hopefully, to listen. And a couple more to share around for you to decide who who should be gifted with a toasted sticker. So thank you to your students. We are incredibly appreciative and always inviting feedback to help us to make this a worthwhile listen, certainly. And as we've said before, this is about the collective. It is about lifting one another up, and we do that through the shared experiences and stories. And it's about removing that feeling of a scarlet letter, that fear of being in the public, that sense of being caged in by failure, defining yourself. So we're very excited about that. So thank you for doing that. And thank you to your students.
Yeah. And just one more little shameless thing. I told you I had props today. So I've shown you my coffee cup. I've shown you my coffee can. Margie and I are tiara wearers.
I had mine ready.
So I do have my tiara.
I would have had mine ready. I have 3 to choose from. I have to decide which one goes with my outfit the best.
Oh, goodness. And I will tell you that because of the tiara wearing, Margie helped me through a little time of failure. I'm going to get choked up about it. But because of her collectiveness, because of the community, we both were going through a pretty tough time professionally around the same time. Mine a little later. And Nick, you were actually around for that we can talk about. Oh my gosh, look what that tiara did to my hair now. But
one of
I
those
do want to
things
say
it's tiaras, and
it's real.
It is. It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
And Nick will never understand.
I wanted Nick to get a crown.
It's true.
So as I said, I'm a fangirl of Toasted. I am writing a prediction right now on the sticky note.
I love it.
About Toasted.
What is it?
Gosh, this is.
I'm not telling you.
I don't like surprises either.
I'm even covering it. Like, you can see what I'm writing. Like, I'm covering it. I'm going to write my prediction about Toasted and Nick and Margie as hosts.
This is great. This is hilarious. Nick is terrified, and I rarely see that.
Yeah, I don't like this.
I love it so much. I'm so happy right now. Nick terrifies me on a regular basis. So this right now feels so good. And I'm
folding it, and I'm putting it in an envelope I had ready. Licking it, which I know some people don't agree with envelopes, and on the front, I'm putting Toasted, the podcast prediction.
Holy, I am so uncomfortable.
I love it.
You, Margie, you and I.
We are so similar with this. This is our jam.
We are. So today is October 22nd.
Ooh,
this reminds me of
22.
And I'm going to
look at the repeating numbers: 10, 22, 22. That is so the beginning of a new cycle, and then the twos. Oh my gosh, that's very cool. Nick hates everything about the fact that I'm all into numerology and astrology.
Yes, and above my computer screens, I have a lovely bulletin board that I put all sorts of stuff on, and I'm pinning it up there right now. And at some point, when I feel like this has come true, or you decide the podcast will not exist anymore, I will reveal what my prediction was.
Well,
only I know the prediction. I have not vocalized this to anybody else.
If the prediction comes true, you're going to have to come on the show to reveal that, because we don't know what it is. So therefore, we won't know if it comes true.
Right. And it leaves some suspense to keep watching and subscribing to Toasted, right?
It does.
For both, and for you two to keep posting it. It's going on my bulletin board
right now. I'm already like, oh my gosh, I have to know. I have to, and I'm already like, my competitiveness, like, I have to win. I have to make sure I fulfill this thing, but I don't even know what the heck it is. So now I'm like,
nope, I'm telling you. And Margie, I'm not even gonna say it. No, I can't say it because you'll know. Well, like, predictions go along with what we were talking about a little bit before, right? Like, believing in there's a higher power in the universe, and when the stars and moons and suns align, certain things happen. And Nick doesn't buy into any of that.
He doesn't have to.
It's not that I don't buy into it. Like, it's that doesn't provide me any solace, right? That doesn't make me feel any particular way. Like, some people that really reassures them to know that there's something out there. But for me, I think I might just be extremely rational, or I don't know, maybe that's not true either. I don't really know. I can't explain why it doesn't do anything for me, but I don't have any problem with people believing it. Yeah, so there's that.
I also think that sometimes there's a lack of, if you don't, if you've never learned or read or understood or this or that, or even had a conversation with somebody to understand where they're coming from about it, maybe that's going to be one of our podcasts, because it will be. And that's my prediction. So there we go. Because we're going to have a conversation about it, because I think that that's important. Like, it just, there's information that you can glean that you can help to know about you. Like, so much of it, it comes back to you and introspection. And I don't mean like, the horoscope of like, oh, you're going to have a great day and meet somebody wonderful. I don't mean that. I mean like the true astrology and natal charts, and understanding the date of your birth, the time of your birth, the location of your birth, and the triangulation of where everything was in the sky at that moment. And that is unique to just you. And it helps you learn about you. And then you see like, ooh, that's why I reacted that way. That's why the failure as a freshman when I was 14 hit me so hard, because this is my profile of me. And I can choose to become the unfulfilled me according to what that is or not. Everything has that glass half empty, half full. So you can become the highest version of these things. You can say like, whoa, like for example, my birthday is in August, just like Tracy's. So we are both fellow Leos. So that Leo sun sign, well, there's also a moon sign and a rising sign, and all of those things come together with everything else. And just like anything, you can be the best version of that, or you can succumb to the darker side, or that negative, like, can't find the right word for it, but that is not the best of those qualities. And you always have a choice to decide to pivot. Which way are you going to go? But when you learn about yourself and see why something hit you as hard as it did, or at least begin to try to understand that, then I think you can choose to rise through to something else. We all have something called a north node and a south node. And the south node is those skills you're born with that just when people say, oh, it's just how I am, just how I'm wired, just how I am. But your north node is supposed to stretch you into something else, but you use those skills, but you don't stay there. And that's really what we're talking about, rising through, not staying there, but stretching yourself through these uncomfortable situations, through failing, to see like that is what will help you to shed some of these things that you've kept, defining yourself by. Let go of that freedom in that, to rise through, to grow to something else. So I'm done.
Well, so to me that makes sense. So I can get behind something that gives somebody a belief system that allows them to somehow grow beyond wherever they're at, right? So even though I say I don't really like that stuff, like I can support it.
In 3 years, I've never heard those words from Nick, so I'm glad this is recorded for all history.
No,
in 3 years.
Do I believe it for myself? No, but do I believe that it works for people? 100%. Yeah. I've always been, Tracy told a sports story, so I'll tell a sports story. I played basketball, and I wasn't a great basketball player, but I loved basketball. And
You're tall.
I was the tallest person on my team at 6'1", so we were a fairly short team. Although they put 6'3" in the program just to scare people. So I would let my hair grow up, I do. And I worked really hard. I will say that. And I think that's one of the things, I think my support of sports in school has been because I learned a lot from playing sports. I learned how to, how to like sit with failure in some ways, because I didn't start right off the bat. I eventually did as a varsity player. I was a starting center and captain of the team, but that wasn't my experience for most of the time that I played basketball. And so I think I worked hard. You just learn how to work hard and, so it's the same thing. Like whether it comes internally or somehow that sort of moon chart stuff gives you what you need to grow beyond wherever your particular circumstances are, I support all of that. And I think, I think this podcast in some ways is kind of my evidence of that. I've never run a podcast before, and I never built a website before this. We're just kind of learning all this stuff now, and then we have guests on who challenge us even more. Like, I'm super uncomfortable with that envelope hanging on your wall. I have no idea what's in there. I'm really. Yeah.
Ironically, it has to do with your success. So isn't that ironically? So it's just a prediction I have after listening to episodes 1 through 3.
Well, I have to tell you that we were either going to have you on today, Tracy, or Taylor Swift was going to come on and talk about her new album. So I'm really glad
we told
that
Taylor,
you
I'm
came
sorry,
on.
Tracy's available. So Tracy's available.
Yeah.
Taylor, you're going to have to wait.
Taylor, you got to.
I'm
Her
second
next album
choice.
comes
No,
out
just-
though.
yeah.
She can come on the show. We'll let her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, we said Tracy's
No, you were
available.
first choice.
so
We made
sorry.
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Yeah, she had to wait.
Yeah,
you're,
it's true.
You're definitely tops.
No, you're
You are.
sweet.
Actually, though, and this is totally a tangent, but did you guys follow any of the Taylor Swift tweets or any of that stuff? Not Taylor Swift, but
I'm very
I woke up the
sorry.
other morning and I do
Sorry,
that thing where I
Taylor.
wake up and like I woke up and like everyone's talking about. I didn't know she was coming out with a new album, but there was like this incredible talk, and then somebody emailed me and they're like, "Go Yankees!" And I was like, "I don't know, is there a baseball game on?" Because I don't follow sports, so I'm like, I feel like a cultural nomad or something, you know? Like I didn't know that Taylor Swift is coming out with a new album, and I didn't know that there was a World Series or whatever's going on right now. I have no idea. I don't know what I do with my life, but apparently I'm doing something wrong.
No,
So-
that's not true. You're building websites
Anyway.
and you're teaching yourself how to do all of these different things. No, I'm
That's
the
true.
Football is really my big one. I like to watch that.
And you're fighting. You're fighting Yellow
You are.
Jackets.
It's
Stomp,
crazy.
stomp, stomp.
Okay,
I keep
so
watching you.
I'm counting them right now, and I'm up to 15. So that
This
is
is-
interesting.
And Nick is allergic.
For
so
some
this is
reason, there's
terrifying
Yellow
to both
Jackets in this
Tracy and
room.
This
I.
is a problem,
We're
Nick.
not okay with this. This
So
is
far, so
very
good.
scary.
Actually, about 10 minutes ago, one landed on my microphone. I don't know if you saw that, where I sat back and
I
went,
saw one do a fly by your face.
yeah, that was the one that was on the microphone. So I don't know what's going on. I may have to call an exterminator, but they're big too.
I would feel better if
Call
you
an
did.
exterminator?
Gosh. Yes, do
No,
something
that's okay.
about them. That's
Yeah,
not okay.
I'm
especially
worried.
if you're allergic to them. Tracy
Well,
has the band-aids
you know.
in case you get stung.
And you have 3 boys
They're
in the
fine.
house.
Really?
They're. This isn't a different room. This is the quiet room. So that's what I like to call it, the quiet room. Tracy, for setting up for our next conversation, though, we mentioned having cocktails, but it would help to know, generally speaking, what we're drinking. So we know it's not going to be Irish whiskey.
Nope.
So for
It's
planning
not.
purposes, what do I need to go purchase?
Well, being an Irish girl, I really do enjoy a
Okay.
good beer.
Oh, okay.
And I decided last night that I'm not like super picky about one
Okay.
brand. Like I don't have a go-to beer brand. I am very interested in trying lots of different beers. But my summer cocktail is usually a vodka of some sort. But really, deep down, if I'm going to sit down and enjoy a cocktail, just because I just want to sit and kind of murk around in it, it is an old fashioned. But I have a secret old fashioned recipe.
Oh, this is exciting.
So again, I'm just like my coffee. I am super picky. I didn't know I had a secret old fashioned recipe, or that there was a secret ingredient that made it the cocktail of choice until I just discovered it in June. I realized what was missing from my
Are you
old
going to share
fashions.
what was missing from your old fashioned?
So-
Yeah.
Or is it going to go on a post-it in an envelope?
Do you want me to do that right now?
We can
or
do it next time. But if you send us a list, a shopping list, though, that would be important. In case
Oh, you'll have
That's
the
what I was
same one
thinking.
with
That'd
me.
be kind of
what
fun.
That was our goal to do.
Okay.
We just haven't been organized really enough to do it. So, but that is definitely the goal, is to
Okay.
do that.
Okay. I will do that. We did talk about meeting in
Yes,
person
that's
for
what
the
we
next
had
one and
talked
have
about that.
sharing.
that would be fun too.
Yes, we would like to do that.
Yeah. So, but I am still willing to try other
Okay.
people's, and it is not a traditional old fashioned like most trained bartenders. So a traditional one is a bourbon, which I do have bourbons. We could talk about bourbons. I have lots of favorite bourbons. It's bourbon and simple syrup. Typically, there's some simple syrup in there, and then people have varieties, other kind of tweaks to it. But I discovered while in Louisville, Kentucky, that I discovered what my secret ingredients are that make it the best old fashioned
That is
ever.
awesome.
So
Well,
curious.
Some people like them muddled. I thought I liked it muddled. I don't
Oh,
like it muddled. I don't mind it muddled, but that's not the best.
I'm very fascinated. So I'm
Yeah. Now, Nick, you're a bourbon drinker.
I mean, I'll drink bourbon for sure. Yeah. Do you have a favorite bourbon, Tracy?
I do. I do like a Basil Hayden.
Oh.
never had that.
I do like Basil Hayden. I am not as an experienced bourbon drinker as others. My husband is a super
Yeah.
bourbon fanatic. That's why we went to
Uh,
Louisville, Kentucky. I like a Bladen Bow.
Wow. Look at you go.
Yep. I like
I
a
like
Blanton's.
Blanton's. That's hard to find now.
Yeah.
You know, for a little while you could find it kind of around, but they've all gotten a little scarce.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And on the lower end, I like a Bullet. So I'm not super picky. I think probably a given choice it would be Basil Hayden. But interestingly enough, my favorite old fashioned recipe does not have Basil Hayden in it.
I can't wait either. But
it's not a purist. It's not a purist old fashioned.
Very
So
exciting.
well, we're not kind of.
But I can tell you more about that next time.
So I can tell you
We're not afraid to break the.
One of the best old fashions
Margie.
that I've had at a bar is JT Stahl. Shout out to JT, who is like the mixologist master of the universe. And currently he is at Nolan's in Canandaigua on the lake, Nolan's on the lake. And he makes a mean old fashioned. And if you go in and just tell him what your palate is, what you do and don't like, he will create a cocktail just for you. So I love to go in there and it's called Trust JT. And so I go in and he's like, you trust JT? And I'm like, with my life. And then he'll create these fascinating things and present them to you. And they're always spot on. So, yep. So JT,
well, I would be willing to let him create,
tell him what you like,
an old fashioned for me, because maybe I would just trust him and say, you know, let me have your best old fashioned, and we'll go from there.
Just trust JT.
Well, maybe we could try and work that out so we're on location. But if we're not, then we'll make the Tracy Marchionda old fashioned, and then we can have the PM discussion about failure. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's a little darker, a little deeper.
Good. Yep.
Definitely worth a couple old fashions.
You're speaking our language.
All right, we're ready for that.
Yay!
All right, well, we should probably wrap up the AM conversation, and Tracy, thanks again for being with us. It's always great to talk to you, and always good fun. And that idea of the narrative and the fear of failure is super powerful for me. I know it rings true, and has it prevented me from I was going to share this with you, but after high school, I was going to travel Europe. That was my dream, but I was so afraid of like going alone and being alone that I didn't do it. And that is one, I would consider that a regret and a failure that I didn't do that. I wish I had done that. But I'm going to try and do that at some point. So,
but your life wouldn't be where it is if you had done that. Something like that choice would have led you in a different path. I truly believe that. But there was probably other times, Nick, where you didn't let the fear of failure hold you back, and you did something.
It's called Toasted, the podcast.
I know. I was going to say, we're doing it right now. We're doing it right now. No, absolutely. No,
sure.
Tracy, we love you so much, and this has been so exciting. Thank you for being willing to share with us, and thank you for being willing to talk about hard things that we're going to be sharing with others. And all of it is about that shared experience and understanding that we all can relate to some piece of this, and to that feeling of like you're not alone. We are part of a greater collective. And I say that over and over because it's the truth. And when we put out these positive things, this energy, this shared hand up, like it's about, rising tides lift boats. And so we need to be part of a rising tide. And so it's exciting to have you here as our first official guest of Toasted. I'm so excited.
And your fangirl. Like, woohoo! I'm so excited to be here with you. Even though I've known you both for some time now, and we've become friends through professional connections. I'm honored to be with you guys. I think what you're doing is what we need to do. We need to think about who is in our collective. Like I said, Margie, when I was going through a really difficult professional time, you were like, get your tiara. We're having a cocktail via Zoom, and we're going to work this through. And on the other, like you pay it forward, right? Like when you emailed me your formal email that said, life has taken my career has taken a different turn. I called you. I'm like, I'm coming over. What's your favorite drink? And we're having dinner together.
Say that you did, and I was like, no, and that. One of my favorite things about you is that you were like literally ignored my no, and I was just like, nope, that's okay, this, that. And you're like, I'm already at Wegmans. And I'm like, well, I like, should I get a rotisserie chicken? I'm like, well, I have salad I could do. You're like, all right, be right there. And you came and you had your bag and you had the chicken, and I pull out the salad, and I'm still in my head going like, but I said no. And you're like, and I have chocolate. And there was like, chocolate. And we sat there and you were there for me in a way that, and it was so hard. It was so hard to know, like sending that email was hard enough, but to have you be like, I'm going to be there for you. And it was like, and it just feel that so raw and so exposed. And I'm like, I don't know what to say when I open that door. I don't know what to, and you just came in your little cheerleader stuff. Like, okay, here we go. This, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. And you just kept talking in that awkward silence for me when I didn't know what to say, didn't have the words to say, didn't want to cry, didn't want to be emotional. And you're like, okay, where are we going to eat? And I had little plates and stuff set up on my little table. And it was just sitting there and like just staring. And I'm thinking in my head, part of me was like an out of body experience of like, I want to total.
Who is this crazy woman, and why did she just come to my house?
It's very scary because you're just like, this is somebody who I respect so much, and I don't want her to see me in this state where I just feel like I am like so embarrassed and so this, that. And you're just like, as always, you're just being Tracy. And we're sitting down, and it's like part of me was this out of body, like I'm eating my salad and I'm listening to you talk, and I'm just like, whatever, until finally, you were just like, all right, like I'm here, I've been here, like what? And it was just to allow the narrative, just like you talked about with the cheerleading, the soccer people were trying to pull you in, trying so hard to love on you and say, we want you to be part of us. And you were like, no. It was exactly the same thing. I was like, no, I will not let you love me. I will not let you, tell me I'm not a failure. I will not, listen to this new narrative. And you were just like, I'm just going to sit here and love on you and squeeze on you until you are willing to, just like a little child having a tantrum. Okay, keep tantruming. I'll just keep talking and eating my salad. Oh, still tantruming, until finally I'm like, fine, I'll let you love me and be my friend. Fine, I will go ahead and like let this shield and this emotion down. And now we can actually have conversation because I'm willing to accept that you don't think I'm a failure, even though I'm still in a place where I do. And that was a very, very powerful and difficult and huge growth moment for me. So when I just shared that out loud with everybody, and I didn't even drink alcohol, it's only coffee. So another growth step for Margie. So thank you for that. It was a huge gift. And it's about rewriting that narrative and allowing yourself to be seen in a different way than you're seeing yourself, to allow others to say, you're not a failure, and to listen to what they're trying to say to you. Versus those voices in your head, which is what this is all about.
And I have a theory of that, which will lead to my next story with cocktails. Remember, I said with cocktails about failure. Similar situation.
All right. I'm going to be the heavy here and say we have to be done. For now. Done for now.
All right, Nick.
Done for now.
But
okay. We could talk forever.
This is great. And I really appreciate the conversation, and I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation, especially with cocktails. And if you enjoyed the podcast and you want to leave a comment on YouTube, you can do that in the space below. And I also would invite you to review Toasted on Apple and Spotify, because that's always helpful. And we hope you all have a great day. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheers.
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 I got it.
Cheers.
Nick.
Cheers.
Cheers.